They say you can still hear it beating, beneath the stones, beneath the throne, beneath centuries of lies. Beneath the opulent stone arches of the Valamire Palace, a darkness stirred, not one born of rebellion or war, but of something older, more personal, and infinitely more cruel. The tourists who now roamed its gilded halls had no idea that beneath the throne room lay a tomb, not of bones, but of secrets. Valamire's last true monarch, King Alaric IV, was remembered as a visionary. His reforms modernized a crumbling kingdom. His charisma had enchanted the people. But history, as it's told in museums and monarchist documentaries, conveniently forgets his descent. The spiral began quietly, like most obsessions do, with a woman. Her name was Lysander, a healer's daughter, radiant as a harvest moon and as untouchable as the wind. No portrait of her exists. No record remains in official archives. But her name appears in the margins of the king's private journals, scrolled over and over again with trembling hands. Their affair was brief. Tragic. Some say she was executed for treason. Others whisper she vanished one night and was never seen again. But every version of the tale agrees on one thing. After Lysander disappeared, the king changed. He withdrew from public life, transformed his court into a quiet procession of masked figures, and ordered the construction of a secret chamber beneath the palace. One no architect had planned, no mason would admit building. There are no blueprints. Only rumors. They called it the Heart Vault. And they said he buried something inside it that was never meant to be touched. In 2025, Valamire Palace was a museum. It had survived revolutions, floods, and decades of decay. Eleanor Dray, a restoration archivist, had been assigned to catalogue the lower levels of the eastern wing. The blueprints didn't show much, just storage rooms, a furnace chamber, a sealed stone wall no one had touched in over a century. On her third day, Eleanor noticed something strange. Her compass didn't work in the eastern chamber. The needle spun slowly in circles. Her flashlight flickered near the sealed wall. More than once, she thought she heard rhythmic thuds, soft, distant, and far too steady to be rats. When she mentioned it to the curator, he laughed nervously and muttered something about ye old stones remembering old sins. That night, Eleanor dreamed of a man in royal robes, pacing underground chambers lined with flickering torches. He held something in his hands, a heart, still beating. Curiosity, of course, is fatal. She returned alone 2 nights later, after hours, a crowbar in hand. The stone wall was thinner than it looked. Behind it, stairs, damp and spiraling, leading nowhere good. The descent took her beneath the foundations, beneath history, into a narrow hallway lined with gold-veined marble. The air was too still, the silence too deliberate. At the end of the passage stood a single door of black wood, bound in rusted iron. It opened for her. Inside was a chamber no larger than a crypt. In its center stood a pedestal, and atop it, not gold, not jewels, but a glass box. Inside the box, a human heart. And it was still beating. Eleanor didn't scream. She couldn't. The moment her eyes locked onto it, her breath froze. Her limbs wouldn't move. The chamber pulsed in time with the organ. Each throb echoed through the walls, through her bones, through something older than memory. And then she heard his voice. It wasn't spoken. It arrived like thunder beneath the skin. You've seen it now. You carry it now. She awoke in her flat, 3 hours later, on the floor. Dirt on her shoes. Marble dust in her nails. No explanation. She thought it was a breakdown. A hallucination. until she looked at her wrist and saw the bruise, shaped like a handprint, pressed hard into the skin. And the beating. It hadn't stopped. It was inside her now, not physically, not yet. But she felt it, in the silence between her thoughts, in the weight behind her eyes, in the way her reflection no longer quite moved in sync with her. At night, she dreamed of Lysander, but not as a lover. As a prisoner. Trapped beneath the palace, her bones cradling the box. Her eyes sewn shut. Her mouth whispering secrets through stone. The curse, Eleanor realized, wasn't about loss. It was about obsession, a love so consuming the king refused to let death separate them. So he made a bargain with something ancient. Something beneath. He gave it his heart, literally. And the thing that took it demanded more. Every few generations, someone finds it. And every time, the vault chooses a new keeper. The staff at the palace noticed Eleanor's change. Her hands shook. Her voice lowered. She flinched at echoes. Within a week, she resigned. But she didn't leave town. Instead, she was seen more and more around the old wing. Listening. Waiting. One night, a security guard followed her. He never returned. They found his flashlight at the base of a broken wall, its bulb still faintly glowing. The footage from that evening was corrupted, only static, except for a single clear audio recording, the sound of a heartbeat, slow and steady. The museum sealed off the eastern wing indefinitely. Years passed. Tour guides no longer mentioned the eastern vaults. Visitors whispered about cold spots, shadows that moved wrong, and the echo of footsteps when no one was there. Occasionally, someone would ask about the locked hallway in the east wing. They were told it was unstable, dangerous, forbidden. But sometimes, if you stood long enough near that sealed door, you could hear it. Ba-dum. Ba-dum. A heart, still beating. Waiting.